way you'll kind of be cutting back some of that fat in the meat, and lentils are a whole lot cheaper. So we're going to start off, we have some brown lentils here. We have a couple of potatoes. We have some cheddar cheese. And then for the vegetables part, mix in with the lentils. You can kind of use whatever you have on hand. If you have some celery, that would be good. I don't have any celery today, so I'm going to use carrots. I've got a little bit of this onion that's kind of left over from another dish that I made. And I have a little bit of spinach left over from the other day. So again, like this is something just like a soup. You can kind of find like whatever leftover vegetables you have in your fridge, and you can incorporate that into the bottom layer of the shepherd's pie, which is the lentils. And then for a little bit of flavor, I have a little bit of tomato paste. And if you don't have tomato paste, you can use a little bit of ketchup if you want to use that, or a little bit of tomatoes. And it doesn't really take much. This is probably a little bit more than I need. Soy sauce is also another option that you can use. It kind of gives you a lot of good flavor if you're trying to avoid meat. This is something that kind of gives it that little bit of beefy flavor without the beef. Just some pepper, salt. Another herb that goes well in this is thyme leaves. But again, if you don't have thyme leaves, that's fine. You can use any other kind of spice blend that you like to use. Just, this is something that, just like soup, you can use many different kinds of flavors to flavor it. If you have a broth that you like to use for this, you can use a broth as well to cook them in. But to get started, we're just going to do this in water. So one of the things that I'm going to show you how to do is also to cook this in the microwave. So just in case you don't have a tabletop, a stove or something, this works really well in the microwave, and it's just another option if you don't want to keep your attention on the stove. You can pop it in the microwave and go do something else. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and wash and just rinse these lentils really well. Okay, so first we're going to kind of just get this onion. We're going to saute these in the microwave also. You can do it on the stove top with just a little bit of oil just to kind of soften them up, or you can do them in the microwave. And since I have been learning a lot about microwave cooking, I'm going to do it in the microwave because I think that it's been a really interesting thing that I've been learning about lately. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut these up, put them in a bowl. Okay, and I'm just going to cut up these carrots, cut them in half. I like to turn them over so they're nice and flat on the board so they don't roll around. And I'm just going to soften a little bit of oil in it and stir it up. And I'm just going to pop this in the microwave for maybe just 2 minutes, and then I'll check it. The carrots are not going to totally be done, but it will soften them a little bit and give them some flavor. So we are just going to put this in here for 2 minutes. So you can see that the onions and the carrots are kind of nice and softened up. So I'm going to go ahead and add my lentils. This is about a cup of lentils that I just rinsed off. I just put it in this colander and rinse it with some water. I'm going to add just kind of a little sprinkle of thyme. And this is when you would probably add whatever seasoning mix that you want to use in this. Maybe I'm going to start off with just like a teaspoon of the tomato paste, and I'll adjust it later. A little bit of soy sauce, and then this is roughly a teaspoon. I'm going to do so 3 teaspoons is going to equal a tablespoon. And we're just going to start off with a tablespoon of the soy sauce. I'm going to put just maybe roughly a teaspoon of salt, a little bit of pepper, probably a half teaspoon of pepper. And once we get the lentils cooked, we'll taste it again, and then you can always adjust it, add more flavor if you need it. And then I'm going to put in a cup and a half of water. So that's 1 cup lentils. I'm going to do a cup and a half of lentils, and then I'm going to microwave it for about half the amount, and I'm going to keep my eye on it. Some recipes call for twice that amount of water, but we're not really making a soup here. We're kind of making just the lentils and with a little bit of kind of broth, but we kind of want them to be a little bit more dry. So after you go ahead and put a lid on it so you can capture that steam, and you're going to microwave it for 15 minutes. Okay, so we've cooked it now for 15 minutes. Some of the water had cooked out, so I added 1 more cup of water, and now we're going to cook it for about 10 more minutes and check it again. So now the lentils are done. It took about 25 to 30 minutes in the microwave, and that's just because I put the tomato paste in with the beans. If you want to cook them faster, leave the tomato paste out until the very end, and then you can season them with it. Anything acidic like vinegar or lemon or lime juice or tomatoes can make it take longer to cook your beans. So these are done, and we're going to go ahead and have some potatoes chopped up. These have thin skin. It doesn't matter what potatoes you use. You can peel them or you can leave the peels on. It's up to you how you like your mashed potatoes. But we're going to basically make mashed potatoes in the microwave. So I'm going to put this in the microwave, and you can see that whatever amount of potatoes you have, you want to make sure the potatoes are completely covered with the water. And we'll see if this is going to be enough. It may be too much water. We'll see how well it boils inside here. And we're just going to put it in for 10 minutes at first and see how that goes. Our potatoes have been in. We did it for 10 minutes, and we did it for another 10 minutes. And the way to test it to see if it's ready to smash is if you just take some out, and then if it kind of smashes easily with your fork, then it's pretty much done. Now I'm just going to pour some of this water off, but I'm going to keep it because for different potatoes, some of them might need a little bit more of that starchy water to get them going. So I'm going to leave just a little bit, and you can see how much that is in there, just a little bit on the bottom. And if I need more water, then I can add it because I have it in my cup. So I'm just going to go ahead and smash it up with my fork. And I like my mashed potatoes kind of lumpy. Some people may not. So you can kind of, that would just depend on how long you want to do this for. If you've got like a hand mixer, you can whip them up and make some nice whipped potatoes. So now I think if I add a little bit of water, that starchy potato water to it, I can get it a little bit smoother. There, you pretty much have your mashed potatoes. And you can go ahead and season it. You put a little bit of salt, half a tablespoon, a little bit of pepper. And you can pretty much do this up how you like your mashed potatoes. Some people put a little bit of garlic in it, but that is pretty much good. That's kind of how I like it. We have our lentils. We're going to kind of just put it together. So pour that in your bowl. Smooth it on the bottom there. I'm just going to kind of mix in the spinach. I didn't put it in before because I didn't want it to get too overcooked. So I'm going to put it in there. Once it's in here, it's going to cook that. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the mashed potatoes on top. Now you can use those lentils. You don't have to use it to make a lentil shepherd's pie, but you can use those lentils and make tacos with it. You can just kind of serve it as a dish into itself. Or add a little bit more broth or water and turn it into a soup. There we go. We've got all of that. And then I'm going to put a little bit of cheese on top. I just have some basic like cheddar cheese. You can use any kind of cheese that you like, especially for kids, adults too, that, you know, a little bit of cheese sometimes makes something that looks a little bit different, makes it a little bit more palatable. So there, we'll put some cheese, and that'll be it. And pretty much you can cook this in the microwave for maybe like 2 more minutes. Everything is all hot, but we just want to melt that cheese. And then real quick, you don't have to do all of this in the microwave. Those lentils can be cooked on the stove as well. It'll probably take you about 20-25 minutes as well. If you leave out that tomato paste until the very end, then it'll probably take a little bit less time. And sometimes with beans, sometimes if they're older beans, they'll take a little bit longer to cook. So you'll have to just watch it and see how long it takes. But the good thing about lentils is that you don't have to soak them overnight. And the mashed potatoes, they can also be cooked on the stove as well, or you can use instant potatoes for that. And then just a little bit of cheese on top, and you're pretty much done. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.